I was working at this other pharmacy, and you could count, I think me and one of my other friends, we were like the only black person there. But I made sure to, and I was one of the youngest too, but I made sure to give it my all. They're like, oh, how old are you? They'll always ask me my age because they felt like I was really young. But I would make sure that didn't stop me because pharmacy school wasn't easy. If I didn't have passion for it, I would have dropped out. I have
Absolutely.
people that dropped out because it wasn't easy. There are times where you're just stressed out, and the stress cannot allow you to think. Of course, I had times when I cried. Like most of my
Nothing
friends
wrong for that. You
cried.
let it out and then you pick up yourself and get focused again.
Exactly. But when anytime I feel down, I tell myself, okay, Onyinye, why did you even sign up for this in the first place? And then I answer that question. I question myself and I
You
answer
answer
it. And
your own
I'm like,
question. Yeah.
what's of the passion? So I keep moving.
Passion.
No matter,
Okay.
even if it wasn't pharmacy, even if anything else, as long as you have passion for it, no matter the setback, no matter what it is, just as long as you have that passion, it would keep you moving.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Unfiltered Real Talk podcast. I am super excited about today's conversation. It's with one of my friends from a while ago. We went to school together in Halifax, Dalhousie University to be precise, and she is going to be talking to us today about her journey to becoming a pharmacist, and also towards the end, we're going to talk about the COVID-19 vaccine because she's gotten hers and she wants to take this opportunity to educate us about it. And so please stick around to closer to the end of this conversation for when she will be talking about the COVID-19 vaccine. So I'm excited, not talking too much and wasting too much time. Let's jump right in. So with me today is Dr. Onyinye Kammelu. She is a pharmacist graduating with honors in 2019 from the University of Massachusetts College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences in the United States of America. So welcome, Dr. Kammelu.
Thank you. Thank you for
I feel
having
like
me.
you're so welcome. So we met, I think it's probably coming up on like 6 years ago or so.
6 years,
And
yes.
you were not a doctor then. You were doing your
Still trying to
bachelor
figure
degree.
things out. Yes.
So respect, congratulations. Wow,
Thank
wow.
you.
I want to thank you first of all for giving me your time. I know you're busy, so thank you so much for being here. And in this conversation today, we're talking about career advancement, women in science. And so I thought it'd be great for you to talk about your journey to becoming a pharmacist. So please start out by telling us a little bit about you and the passion why you wanted to come talk to me about this topic today.
Thank you again for having
Yeah.
me. So my name is Onyinye Kammelu. I'm a Nigerian Canadian who came from a very ambitious family, and I was taught about the importance of working hard to achieve one's goal. So I decided that okay, I'm gonna earn my Bachelor of Science degree in biology, and I also minored in sociology from Dalhousie University.
Yeah.
And I graduated at the age of 20.
Wow, girl.
I know I did.
Representing. Yeah. I
And
feel old in here.
well, that was in 2016 I graduated, so it was a while ago.
Still,
And
take
then
the
I moved.
compliment. Just take the compliment.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
So I moved to the United States all by myself. So
Wow.
yes, all by myself, no family here.
So
Just
you just
went
decided
back.
that you want to go study at Massachusetts College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences, and you just went.
Yes, and also it's mainly because they had the accelerated program. So
Okay.
instead of doing it for 4 years, you can do it for 2 years and 10 months.
Wow. Damn,
Yes.
you probably have no life in that time.
No, don't worry. I'll talk more about it. No life.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, I was up for the challenge. I'm like, yeah, I want to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, why not? The option was there. I applied. I got in. So I took it. And then I graduated cum laude at the age of 23. That's when I was done with pharmacy. Yes. And today right now, and I work as a pharmacist at Amazon Pharmacy, where I help manage and develop quality improvement measures and
Okay.
ensuring that patients get their medication at the right time. So, so this conversation is really important to me because, first of all, this is my first time I'm touching on some of the topics that you mentioned, and also it has
Hmm.
allowed me to reflect on my career journey and the challenges I went through. So I'm hoping that it will motivate and encourage some people out there.
Absolutely. I think this is key. And this is one of the reasons I reached out to you to come talk about it, because as a young woman that we are, it's awesome when we can share our experiences to support and inspire other young women, especially if they are struggling to get into what they want to get into. And then there are young people like yourself who are out there just making waves, and this can move them to hopefully take that next step that they need to get whatever they want to do, get it started, right?
Exactly.
So thank you so much for that. I think that's amazing. So let's get into the conversation right away. How did you know that you wanted to pursue a career in pharmacy?
Good question.
Yeah,
So
thank
this
you.
all started when I was younger, like
Okay.
back in Nigeria. So when I was younger, my dad usually buys us the professional, like those baby dolls, like
Yes.
different ones. He didn't, so we never really had like the regular doll, like the Barbie doll. It was almost like a taboo. So he always
Ah,
bought like,
interesting.
yes, I don't know. He just had that mentality, and we were like, okay, cool. So the dolls he would buy for us are like dolls that like nurse dolls, or like a doctor
Like a
doll.
doctor doll, engineer doll,
Yeah,
like science themed
exactly.
dolls. I totally know
Like
what you mean.
science themed ones, yeah. And some of the toys he will also buy are like, like needles, like syringes, all those little doctor
Ah,
sets. Yeah, like doctor sets. I guess he was trying to, I don't know, make us think more about that
it
line
was,
of
they
time.
say that Nigerian parents tell your kids what to do. When it's time to go to school, you're like, you need to be a doctor, you a lawyer, and you, an engineer, and that's about it. So it seems like your dad
Yeah,
didn't really do that, but he kind of like
exactly. I was
explored.
gonna say he didn't really like tell you must do this. It's
Mhm.
just that he just didn't like the regular dolls. He was like he wanted to be unique and buy something different. So he usually bought that for my sister, and we liked it. I loved it.
Yeah, I
So
love it
and
too.
apparently, yeah. So apparently, whenever we had like guests over, I would always go around them like, oh, let me test you, and like a little child, oh, uncle, auntie, let me test you.
Yes.
Had your blood pressure. I mean, I didn't
Yeah.
know the word right
Of
then, but I was
course.
like, let
Yeah.
me test your body to make sure
Yeah.
you're fine. And so every time, like, apparently, I also carried it around, and when people came over, I always want to examine them to see if they're okay. So ever since then, people started calling me Dr. Onyinye.
Wow.
Like
Look at
my
you.
grandma, yes, even to today, my
Dang.
grandma calls
This
me
is
that.
like giving me goosebumps, girl. So like they were calling you a doctor when you were still a child wearing
Doctor.
diapers,
Yes.
and here you were a doctor for real.
Yes, like
Wow.
my grandma, my uncle, some of my uncles and aunts still call me that. They're like, "Oh, doctor,"
It's
and
official now. They can.
right. So now,
Yes.
technically, yes. So eventually, like them calling me doctor and all that, I'm like, okay, yeah, I do like this path. Like I like examining people. I like to make sure everyone is fine. And back when I was still in Nigeria, at a younger age, I lost my granddad. He had cancer and he lost his battle. And at that age, of course, I was still a bit, I had so many questions like, oh, well, they were treating him. So how come the
Mhm.
medications did not help him out? So I was very curious. And I started doing more research about like certain health conditions and like how certain medications worked. So yes, so that same passion I guess I had at always examining people, I kind of put it in also. Like I had more passion for it to do more research and find out like, okay, well, my granddad lost his battle to this. What happened? And also for people out there too, I was like, okay, how would they deal with certain health conditions and what
Right.
medications can help them? So I was still doing my research and still trying to find out more. And then at the age of 14, when I moved to Canada, I was more curious. Like, okay, yes, in Nigeria, I know, oh, doctor is doctor and doctor, but
Right.
what else do they have in the health career paths? Like, is it just a doctor only? Do they have other people that help out? So that's when I say finding about nurses, dentists, pharmacists, and I was researching more about it, and I was like, okay, this is very interesting. And then while I was in high school, I volunteered at a veterans home, and I was helping like older people that were not able to, feed themselves and do certain
Mm-hmm.
things by themselves. I found that I had passion for that because, like I said, I was still trying to research more about what I was passionate
Absolutely.
about. So
Yes.
I was doing different things to know, like, oh, do I like this or don't? Well, do I just it was just maybe when I was younger that I had that passion. So I was trying to make sure that for sure I still had it, and I did because I volunteered. So I graduated high school. I'll go in and feed the older people, give them their medication. I also learned more about some of their health diseases, like what they had going on, Alzheimer's. Majority of them had Alzheimer's, and I did more research about that. So while I was researching, I found out about pharmacy and how it was a bit closer to the whole medical doctor, because I think the main difference was we do not prescribe medication, but the doctors and the pharmacists, we know about your health condition, we know what
Absolutely.
medications can work. So I talked to my mom about it and I mentioned it. I'm like, oh, what do you think about pharmacy? And she said it is a great career and also it gives you time to spend with family. And that was one thing that I truly wanted. I was passionate about delivering the best care to people. And I also wanted something that would give me time to spend with my family. 'Cause I'm a
I
family
think
person.
that's so huge. That's a
It
big one.
really it really is because growing up, my mom was always there, and I had friends whose parents were not always there for them, and I feel like it has an effect on the kid.
On the
So I
kids.
don't
Yes, I agree.
so I don't want a situation where my kids will grow up and say, "Oh, mommy wasn't there because she was always working." I didn't want that. I always want them to feel like mommy was always there, even though she had to work
Right.
and make money for the family. So yes, pharmacy was what I decided,
It
and I
was a
think
calling. I'm getting the sense that it was a calling.
it was
It
the
was
call.
just, because the way you accelerated through the program, it's just amazing. So
Thank you.
thank you for just giving me this opportunity to sit down with you to inspire other young Black women who would hopefully listen to this podcast. So let's start to talk about some of the challenges that you may have experienced as you started to go to school and as you started to pursue that journey of becoming a pharmacist. So maybe some challenges you went through in university or in college in the United States versus here. So can you share some of that?
Some of the challenges, yes. So I would say the program itself was very fast paced. We didn't really have break, like how you get a month's break or like
Like
summer
the summer
break.
break? Yeah.
But we didn't get that. It was
Wow.
back to back. The
So
only yeah. Mhm.
so no break for the full 2.5 years? Like no summer break?
No summer break, no, because you summer semester was included. So we got like Christmas break, we got probably 2 weeks. Yeah. But summer break we didn't. Like we had to go back to back. So I started September 2016. We did like school work all through till August. So in August, like August, September, that was when we started our clinical rotations.
Okay.
So they gave us maybe a month block off just to, I guess, relax. And
Catch a break. Yeah.
everyone got different times. Some people got in August, some people got in September. So it varied. It's not like everyone went at the same time. So it was different times. I think mine was in August. So was able to get August off, but then we went back in like right away. So we got August off, and then September and October we were doing our clinical rotation, and then after that you don't get any break. We went back to
Back
school.
to school again. Yeah.
Yeah, and it carried on till we graduated.
So that's a challenge right there. It's just the intensity of the
And
course of the program.
yes, because
Okay.
Also, once I graduated that housing in 2016, I went straight to school. I didn't take a break.
Oh, you didn't take a break in between. Oh, I see.
No, I didn't. So I graduated from Dalhousie University May 2016,
Okay.
and then, or was it June? Thereabouts. And then
It's
school
May. It's
started.
May, June. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, right, yeah. And then school started September 2016. So I didn't take any break. And I moved to the US in August, to settle down and
Of course.
buy
Yeah.
what I needed and all that. But I didn't take any break. So going right in with no breaks, I had to find like a balance, like, okay, how to get right into it, because I wasn't used to that. I had summer off, I had all my breaks off. I didn't really take some of my classes back in the housing. So it was a lot, but I had to get used to it. I had to tell myself, like, you chose this, you signed up for this.
So
There's no
how did you offer? Yeah. So tell me some of the things that you did to stay focused, because that is challenging in itself. So what are some of those things that I know you're starting to tell me that you were talking to yourself, making sure you're reminding yourself the reason why you chose this program. So also, as you share some of your challenges, let us know how you overcame them.
Okay, that's a good question. So back in the house, I had this mentality which I carried over to my pharmacy program, where is book first and chill out later.
Wow.
So I would make sure.
Oh, I like it.
Yes, and also I'm very much a planner, and I manage my time well.
Yes.
Time management is.
I
really
remember
key.
that from school. Yes, you are. You're very
time
organized.
Yes, you have to be in this program, like managing your time and just planning. You have to, because if you don't, you end up missing stuff. Like I said, it was fast paced. There was always something that was coming up. We had quizzes almost every day. We had like there was something every day. If it's not assignments, it's a quiz, or you had to meet up with a group. So you have to have. I had a planner, and also I had like a whiteboard in my room where I wrote like each due date and also what I had to do this week in order for me not to be stressful, because I try to avoid stress. The program is always stressful, so I try to do things that will minimize that stress.
Okay.
So I would always plan out, like write out all the due dates and make sure I get things done before that due date. Like I usually give myself maybe a week to get everything done and out of the way within that time. And another thing that I made sure to do, and I thank my mom for this, because she instilled that habit of always reading. Always reading.
Always reading.
Yes.
My people, I hope you're listening. I heard that our people don't read. I don't know if that's true, but the people that I've been bringing on my podcast, they do read. So I want to, challenge that and say, please get into the habit of reading, because Dr. Onyinye is telling us that right now.
So when we're younger, my mom would always buy novels for us. Like she'll go out and buy all these books, and then she'd give it to us. And my siblings all had like different ones. And then she'd like read this and summarize. You're not just reading to read.
Mommy got some tips too. Okay.
She knows that if you say go and read, people, you just flip it. No, she wants you to summarize and come tell it
back and say what you read, right? Yeah, what you learned.
She was a teacher, so maybe she knew she knew things about students and how they
of course
had that. So we were kind of her students too. She would tell us to summarize it, and then on top of that, she would take away our TV time. No TV, because now little kids, when you claim you're going to read but TV is on, distractions.
I know, you're like, yeah.
Took away our TV time. There was no phone. Took away our phones to games. All that was taken away till we finished that book. And once she feels like, okay, we're ready, we summarized it well, then you can get your TV time back and your phone and all that. So that mentality, I had that in me, starting from that house, like from high school. I was like, okay, I have to get my work done. Take away my phone. Get all that in away, social media, focus.
Yeah, focused mentality. Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in that house, in my undergrad, same thing. I had that same mentality. And in pharmacy school, oh my gosh, I was looking back and I'm like, thank God my mom, like she instilled that in us, because that was, if I didn't need it in high school, that house, I truly needed it in pharmacy school, because like I said, it was a lot. So anytime, like, okay, when you this is the goals, I always set goals for myself. Like, these are all the goals that you have to accomplish. Okay, so what are the things that might distract you? Your phone, social media, take that away. So I'll always turn off my phone, put it away, hide it under my bed, something, and just
Wow. Yeah,
read.
because that's a big deal. Like a lot of people, a lot of young people, and even when I was going to school as well, that was the greatest challenge, was just Facebook and Instagram, social media, basically. You can just get on there and you get stuck. And you have all these deadlines, you have an essay due today, but you
Mhm.
just can't get yourself out of social media.
Yes. It's tempting. I
It's
won't lie.
tempting,
Sometimes,
you want to keep scrolling and, watching the reels and, TikTok.
all that fun stuff. Before you know it, 2 hours has gone. You're still on there.
More
Uh-huh.
than 2 hours.
More
Half the
than that,
day is gone.
it's gone.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's self-discipline, I would say.
Self-discipline. Thank
Self-discipline
you.
is truly key, because it's one thing to say, oh yes, I would put the phone away when it's time to do the work. The phone's on your hand, and you claim, oh, don't worry, when I finish one
Was I just,
slide,
yeah, I would just,
let me finish one slide, and back to my phone. Before you know it, you have not done anything.
only that one slide the whole
One
day.
slide, you've been on it. Because while you're still on your phone, someone is texting you. They're probably giving you one hot gist.
Yes.
Before you know, you're like, hey, let me just go and find out. You're on the phone
Mm.
chat. Turn that phone off.
Child, I hope
Turn
we're
it off
listening. Like, I'm
today.
taking notes. Dr. Onyinye in the house is just schooling us right here about discipline, making sure you are a goal getter. You have a goal, you need to go get it, and you need to do the work
Yes.
to get the goal. So talk a little bit more about, I don't know what your classroom was like in pharmacy over there in Massachusetts. Was it predominantly men, women? Was it diverse? Did you have people from different ethnic backgrounds? Did you face any challenges with discrimination or things like that?
So in my class we had more women actually.
Awesome. Go,
It
go.
did. And when that question was good, because I decided to do more research, like, oh, what is the stats? So from the statistics I found in the US, there are 53.3% of pharmacists and women that are pharmacists.
Wow.
Yes. And 40.7% are males.
I'm going to have to do the stats in Canada.
I checked Canada, but I
Okay.
don't know how accurate it was. It said there were 60% are women and 40
Wow.
that are male. And then the most common race, of course, they are the whites, and it's about 63.9%. Why the black? I wasn't surprised with that, but I
Yeah.
was kind of like, 6.7%.
Six? Yeah.
6.7.
You need to.
I didn't check Canada because I'm sure it's going to be lower than that.
Yeah.
But
Thank you for
yeah,
representing, Thank you
I
for
know.
representing in that 6%. And, for everyone listening out there, go out there and let's
Go
represent
out
our
there,
community.
please. Go
Yes, just
out
go out
there.
there.
If you walk into a pharmacy class right now, at least in my class, you could count the amount of Black people there. Like,
Right.
you count. It's not enough. And this mentality where people feel like they're the only Blacks in the place. I mean, we say, but at the same time, it's not a good
But it
feeling.
is,
Like,
it is that. When I did my bachelor degree, I was the only Black person in a classroom of like over like 50 people.
yes, it
It's
is that. Because sometimes you want to relate to your people. You want to
Yeah,
be able to ask your kind, like, oh, so what did I miss?
yeah.
But
But I don't
this,
think that should stop us though. If you go
you
out there and
shouldn't.
you're the only
Oh,
Black person,
definitely,
just represent your community. Go out there and
definitely.
mingle
Give it
with all
your
the other ethnic
all.
backgrounds as well. And look at it like, you know what? I'm here to be that first book for Black people on pharmacy or dentistry or whatever it is that you're trying to pursue. And you find out that you're the only person in representing your ethnic group. I think that's an opportunity that we should leverage and not be scared to venture into.
Exactly. Please, yes. Like sometimes when I go and I find out that, oh, I'm the only black, or oh, I'm the only young person, that doesn't stop me. I give it my all. Like I'm like, yes, maybe I'm one of that 1% or whatever percent.
Hmm.
I would make sure I stand out. So when the next person, the next young black person, the next young black female, they'll be like, oh, I remember Onyinye did this. I will be able to give them that opportunity to be able to do the same, because you don't want to go in there and then just not give it your all,
Yeah.
and then they have that idea that, oh, this is what these people do, they don't come in and give their all, and
Yeah,
then
they don't
make
finish,
other,
you know?
yes, and you make the other person lose an opportunity because of what you did in the past.
So
But
we're setting a precedent for the future people coming in. So
yes,
we need to be
yes,
careful about that. It's not just about us.
it's
Okay.
not. So we have to be really careful about that. Because I remember when I was working at this other pharmacy, and I was, you could kind of, I think me and one of my other friends, we were like the only black person there. But I made sure to, and I was one of the youngest too, but I made sure to give it my all. Yes. This was when I doing my clinical rotation. I remember, yes. I was, they're like, oh, how old are you? They'll always ask me my age because they felt like I was really young. But I would make sure that didn't stop me. Because some people might feel
Because
like,
you look like a teenager too. You like you look really let's just call it what it is. You know, you look super young, you sound super young. And I know, you know, when you graduated, you probably were like 23 years old, but even now that you're a tiny bit older, but you still, you know what I mean? So I see how people
yeah,
would be like, oh, like
you're
are you
young.
supposed to be here? Like, do you even know what you're doing? But and
Exactly.
you know, sometimes when people use that word young, I don't necessarily like it because obviously young means inexperienced, you know, means incompetent.
That's pretty much what
But
they mean when they ask. Yes.
yeah, that's pretty much what they mean by the ask. But you go there and you break that chain, you break that stereotype to say, you know what, I may be young, but I earned being here and I know what I'm doing.
Yes, because whenever they bring that up, I would like to educate them. So I always do. I'm like, yeah, well, I went to school at a young age and I graduated at a young age. Yes, I have all the skills needed. If you have any questions for me, I'll be able to. I answer all their questions
Absolutely.
for you. And they look at me like,
And by the time you give
okay,
it to them, boom, 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 you're like, damn,
yes.
Dr.
They'll,
Onyinye,
they'll
okay,
be like, oh,
respect
yes.
here. Yeah,
They would always
yeah.
come back too. They will
And you'll
always
come
come
back, yes.
back.
And when they come back, you know, like, yes, you got it.
Exactly. So yeah, personally, I didn't encounter any form of discrimination or
Okay.
racism in my program, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Oh,
Probably
absolutely.
does,
It does.
but I just did not experience anything personally. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem at all. I have done a couple episodes on racism, discrimination, so we are fully aware that the fact that I bring people on here who don't have a direct experience when I ask that question does not negate the fact that it's happening, is real and present in our society, right? So if you want to check out other episodes on racism, please check out in this season 2, check out episode 6, and then in season 1, check out episode 14 and 15, and you see different perspective around racism. So I want you to share some advice. You told us a bit about your journey, how you found your calling to venture into pharmacy, how you started the work towards being committed, focused, dedicated to pursue that goal. And then now that you're in pharmacy, you kind of touched a bit on some of the, you know, little stereotypes that you get when people see you and when you're at work. So tell some of our listeners what they can do to overcome this any fear or doubt or challenges as they think about pursuing a passion or an ambition. Based on your experience, what kind of advice can you give to our young women, especially young Black women?
hmm Um, I would say don't be intimidated. Um, because sometimes them saying such things to you might feel intimidated, or coming into a pharmacy and you see all the people around you are older, or maybe majority might be male, and then you feel like intimidated and not ready to put in as much work, or you just feel like your whatever opinion or whatever thing you have to say, you would feel shy of saying it. So I would say don't worry about that. Put in that effort. If you think you can do it, go ahead and do it. put in that time, put in that effort, because it will eventually be worth it at the end. Yeah, that'll be a big one, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. And just in your experience, why do you even think that some of us don't pursue our career path? Is it just that intimidation? Could it also be things like our upbringing? Like if we don't have the necessary supports as we were younger in high school, you didn't really get that kind of support from your parents, because the picture you've painted is a very supportive family, right? So
Yeah.
what if you ended up with really pushy parents? Maybe I wanted to pursue a career in music, but they want you to pursue a career in medicine. What should we do? How can we talk to our listeners about this?
So this would be for the parents, because like you mentioned
Yes.
earlier, African parents, they would want you to be a doctor. If you're not a doctor, you have to be a nurse, like professional courses. And
Yeah.
I would say that parents should please allow their kids to go into what they're passionate
Hands
about.
off. Yes.
Passion, and not just money or materialistic things. Because to be honest, I feel most African parents are pushing in that, oh, go be a doctor because of the money.
Yes.
Um, there's a lot that goes into being a doctor. The time, you're like so many things. It's not easy. But it's because I know this will bring our kids money, will bring our family money, and boom,
Yeah.
they'll push it.
Reputation, respect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we should allow our kids to do what they're passionate about.
If what
Passion.
you're passionate about is things like being on social media, looking pretty and cool, that kind of stuff, looking like Kim Kardashian and Cardi B and doing that kind of stuff. How how do we talk to our African parents about that? And what should we say to our young ladies as well, who our young girls who are looking at that kind of stuff and being enticed by that? Because I think that's a serious issue too, right? I want to see girls
Yeah.
in science and medicine and engineering and art and politics, business. That's where I want to see young girls in. So, and no offense to people who are choosing entertainment and that kind of path, but
Yeah.
I'm just speaking from my own opinion. What do you feel about that? Like our African parents are obviously gonna be, just not gonna have it if you say that, because you're just saying let them pursue anything
What
they
they
want. So what if what they want is to be Kim Kardashian?
I'm crying.
So I'm trying to help you here to help us understand what you really mean when you say that.
Um, when I first said my response, that's a good question. And
Okay.
personally, I'm not a mom yet. And I feel like maybe a parent would be best to answer that question. But
Just think about your parents. I think you can still answer that question. Think about your parents, and you said instead that I want to go into modeling or something else. How do you think your parents would have taken that? And if you were your parents, how would you have helped little Onyinye address that?
um, so that the first thing you said about modeling, I remember when I was younger, I wanted to be a model. But what I told myself is this going to bring me enough? Is this something that I will keep doing for a long time? Like, will I
Okay.
be passionate about this in the next 10 years, the next 20 years?
Yeah,
It's going
because
to be a
looks
big
will change and all that.
yes. First of all, I examined like, would I be really passionate about it? And second, I'm like, would this be able to feed I and my family in the long run?
Okay.
Um, and I looked at it and I'm like, no, it wouldn't. Maybe if I was a professional model, if
Yeah,
I was
if you were like Naomi
one,
Campbell and I guess Tyra
exactly.
Banks and all those big names,
Mm-hmm.
you could make a business out of it, right?
Yeah. But I was just like, no, I didn't have that much passion for it. So
Okay.
I decided to go something that I was more passionate about. That if I look back in the next 5, 10 years, I'm like, yes, I made a good decision. Um, so yes, like my brother right now, he models, but at the
Okay.
same time, he's in school for like he's trying to be a business. He's trying to do business. So he's not just doing modeling alone. He's trying to do something else because
Okay. So what you're saying, what I'm
mhm,
taking away, what I'm hearing is if you're a parent and your child is pursuing a path that you don't necessarily think will be a sustainable career choice as they get
Mhm.
older is offer them an alternative or something that will supplement or complement what they're trying to do, right? So just still encourage them to go to school, finish and get that degree in something else. And then if they want to pursue, music or modeling or whatever, still let them have that a chance to explore that.
Exactly, you got
Okay.
that right. So just let it be a balance. Let them be able to do
Well
what they want
balanced,
and
yes.
also do what the parents kind of want for them. Yes.
And okay, so I want to ask now, would you say a career in pharmacy is a good career, like a lucrative career, well paying in the United States, Canada?
Canada, yes, definitely. It's a good career. I do not have any regrets.
Awesome.
I would advise people to do it. It gives you time, like I said, it gives you time to spend with your family. I mean, from this call, I'm sure you already know. Oh, Onyinye is a really big family person. Yes,
Yeah.
I am. Spending
Yes.
time with family is
I can
really
tell
key.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
really
didn't know
key.
that before, but I can tell now that you really love and you're all about family time. Okay, so tell us about some of the careers. What are some of the professions or work you can do as a pharmacist?
Yes. So as a pharmacist, you can work in the retail, which is retail setting. So
Okay.
that's like your normal Walmarts, over there shoppers.
Walgreens,
Yes,
Rexall, yeah. Okay.
exactly. And then there's the hospital, pharmacies. There's the industry too. So in the
Oh,
industry, you get medical affairs, a sales rep, pharmacovigilance. Those are people in charge of drug safety. You can be,
okay,
yeah, a
yes.
consultant. You can meet
Wow.
patients and talk to them. Yes. In charge of also insurance, like making sure your insurance is able to pay for your medications and all that. So yeah, those are the main ones. I'm sure pharmacy is growing now. There's also mail order, like people that are in charge of delivering medications to to their home, to patients' homes. So there's a lot. Pharmacy is
Yeah,
expanding.
that's a lot. And that's is it just that one education, or do we have to does one have to certify or specialize for these other areas you mentioned?
Okay, so for a hospital, you have to do residency. Now, I take that back. You don't have to, but they recommend it.
Okay.
They recommend doing your residency, and residency is like a year or two. I have a friend, a really good friend, who decided to go through that path. So she's going to be a hospital pharmacist. She's graduating. Well, I say graduating. Well, she's done her 2 years residency program in June. So it's called PGY1. So that's where you
Okay.
go and you specialize in a part that you really want. It can be infectious disease or like child care. So you
Okay.
can specialize in that. And then some people go ahead and do PGY too. That's even specializing more. So whatever you want specializing, you getting to know the nitty gritty about it, like more and more information. And then that it stops at PGY too. And then for the industry, you have to do also fellowship. So
Okay.
that's a year or 1 to 2 years. You can decide to do that. And like I said, that's when you decide to specialize in either med affairs, sales, pharmacovigilance, different paths that you want to go. So they'll teach you more about it. But yeah, it's like I said, it's growing. There are different things now. Every day I'm hearing, like on LinkedIn, you see different job ads, like, oh, we're
Yeah,
looking for,
there's a lot of positions. Yes.
yes. So
Yeah.
there are different things. Pharmacy is it's a good career as long as you
Okay.
find that one job that allows you to, spend time with family and also I like to apply whatever you learned from in pharmacy school into it. So
Okay,
it's really
so before we shift gears and move on to our conversation around COVID, I want you to give our listeners what you feel is top 5 ingredients to becoming a pharmacist or to being a good pharmacist.
yes. So the first one is God.
Okay.
God has to lead you. Like tell it to God. God, get on your knees. Like, what is something that I want to be able to do to help people? And I personally, I prayed to God to help me figure it out. Remember how in the
Yes.
first when we started, I was like, I did more research, and I just didn't want to choose. I wanted God to also
To
choose for me,
lead you,
to
yes, lead you
lead
to the
me.
right one. Hmm.
So definitely God leading me, and the passion. I feel passion is really key. I'm sure you've been saying passion since this
No,
call,
I
but
love
it's
it.
really
It
key.
is a key ingredient. Absolutely.
Because listen, there are things that people go through. Like I said, pharmacy school wasn't easy. If I didn't have passion for it, I would have dropped out. I have
Absolutely.
people that dropped out because it wasn't easy. There are times where you're just stressed out, and the stress cannot allow you to think. Of course, I had times when I cried. Like most of my
Nothing
friends
wrong with that. You
cried.
let it out and then you pick up yourself and get focused again.
Exactly. But when anytime I feel down, I tell myself, okay, Onyinye, why did you even sign up for this in the first place? And then I answer that question. I question myself and I
You
answer
answer
it.
your
And
own
I'm like,
question. Yeah.
what's of the passion? So I keep moving. No
Passion.
matter,
Okay.
even if it wasn't pharmacy, even if anything else, as long as you have passion for it, no matter the setback, no matter what it is, just as long as you have that passion, it would keep you moving. So passion and also focus is
Focus.
definitely key.
Yes.
You have to focus. I know I've said this 500 times. Pharmacy school is hard, but you have to focus. You have to plan everything out, and focus and make sure that okay, this is what you have to do. So focus on that exam, that test that you feel okay, you're just not understanding it, you're not getting it. Focus on it. Trust me, once you read it
Yes.
another
Zero
10
in
times,
and yeah.
you will get it.
Absolutely. You get it.
And the fourth one will be hard work. You have to
Okay.
work hard. You have to work hard.
Yeah. There's no easy way out.
No easy way. No, there's no easy way. You have to know that medication. You have to know how it works. You have to know all that. There's no shortcut. Because if you look for that shortcut, when you have to deal with a patient in front of you asking a question, then they will know that this one is not a proper
Hmm.
pharmacy.
Yeah.
This
this
one
one is
did shortcut.
this one did shortcut. He went through
It's
the
not
back
for
door.
everyone. So work
Yeah.
hard, no matter
Yeah.
how hard it is. Put
Yeah.
in that work.
I think that goes for anything in life, Dr.
Anything in
Onyinye. I
life.
think, yeah, you have to work anything in life at all. You have to put hard work. Even me doing this podcast I started last year, it's been a lot of hard work to do it.
Yes.
So imagine something more complicated like pharmacy. So hard work, period.
Yes. And then the final one I would say is perseverance.
Okay.
You have to persevere through it. Like you tell yourself you can do it, and you will do it. So yes, that is
Ladies and
five.
gentlemen, you got the prescription from Dr. Oni herself. She said the 5 ingredients, basically 5 medications, if you will. God, put God first, passion, focus, hard work, and perseverance. And I'm sure if everyone would agree that this is what you would do for anything else in life and not just career passion or business passion or ambition. I think anything else you need in life, you need this for ingredients. So thank you for sharing that. So I want us to now talk about COVID-19 vaccine. Yay, the almighty COVID. No, it's not almighty COVID. No, COVID is not almighty. It's gonna
I know
go
I might
eventually.
do.
No, no, almighty. Okay, so but it's the dreaded conversation, is the elephant in the room.
Yes.
It's the big deal and the hot topic right now. And I know you got your shot. You got the vaccine.
I did. I got the first one, so I'm yet to get the second.
Okay, you
But
got
yeah,
the first shot. And
yes,
you said you got Pfizer.
Pfizer. I did
Okay,
get.
Pfizer. Tell us a little bit about how the Pfizer vaccine works.
Okay, so I think this in general, Pfizer and Moderna, because those ones are what you call the mRNA vaccine. Those
Okay.
are not like vaccines. So this is how it works for both of them. So once this vaccine is in your body, the cells pick up the mRNA, and this will pay you. Then it will follow the instructions to make what you call spike proteins. So the cells displays the spike protein on its outer surface, which is similar to the way the coronavirus works. So because this spike proteins are still only a piece of the whole coronavirus, it's just a piece. This vaccine just gives you a little piece. So it doesn't cause harm to your body on their own. But when the immune system sees the spike protein, it recognizes it as an intruder, and then it begins building what you call antibodies against
Antibodies. Okay.
antibodies. Yeah. So these antibodies are customized proteins that help the immune system attack any virus carrying that spike protein of the coronavirus. So your body will start building antibodies to be able to fight it. So whenever it sees it, be able to fight it. So your immune system stores the antibodies when it's ready for fight.
Okay.
So once it sees the enemy, meaning the COVID, it begins to fight the real virus. So the antibodies, when you recognize that, oh, this is
So there's
something
no way that
before.
this antibody is going to be fighting us. You know, some of this misconception that the injection or the vaccine is going into your DNA, from what you've explained, is outside, like the ectoplasm. Okay.
Pretty much. So all it does is when it sees that coronavirus and it's like, okay, this is not part of the body, it begins to fight that.
Okay.
So the immune system only remembers how to make more of that antibodies if it's necessary. Like if it feels like, oh, you see more of the coronavirus.
Because maybe the enemy is trying to infiltrate. Okay.
Exactly. So this vaccine does not affect your DNA in any way. No, it does not. And the immune system does not attack your own cells. It only attacks that coronavirus itself because it knows, oh my gosh, this is not part of what we're supposed to see, because that spike protein has kind of already given you an idea of what the virus looks like. So once it sees that, it fights
recognizes
that.
It.
Exactly. So your own body doesn't carry that. A body doesn't carry that coronavirus. So it does not fight your DNA at all. The DNA does not look like that spike protein. So it's only the spike protein itself that it fights. So none of the not your DNA, none of that. So it just attacks the body that has the spike protein of the coronavirus. So not your DNA at all. So that whole rumor about it affecting your DNA or affecting your own body
and become zombies, and the government is gonna manipulate us. That's all just myth.
That no. So let's not be worried. Pretty much at first, to be honest, I was a bit worried. I was concerned.
Okay.
Because of the rumors. No matter how much you think, rumors will not get you. Oh my God, it will get you.
Yeah, it will get you.
The same thing. And you're like, hospital cannot be wrong now. Like, what is going on?
There has to be some truth in it. Yeah.
It has to be. And my co-workers, majority of them got their vaccine and they were fine. So I was shocked to ask them, like, okay, so you got the first one, how was it? Like, I was weak a bit, but I was fine. And the second one, they're like, yeah, they were also fine. They experienced certain side effects, but it wasn't that bad. I mean, they came to work every day. We still interacted the same way. So that's why I knew that, okay, it definitely doesn't affect them. So it's okay. But then, like, majority of them were white. So I wanted to hear from a black person. So I did more research. I did more research. And then a very close friend of mine, who, the one I mentioned that's doing her residency in a hospital, she did a presentation on all the vaccines, not just Pfizer, like all of them. So I called her, and while we were talking, she asked me if I got the vaccine, and I was like, no, I didn't. And she's like, so what's the problem? I'm like, well, I feel like I need more. And then that's when she told me she did a presentation on it. I'm like, oh, great.
Exactly.
Send me the slide and
sign me up.
So we spent like 30 minutes talking about like all the vaccines, the side effects, how it works. And when she told me all that, I felt like, oh my gosh, I just gained more knowledge. This is not as bad as I thought. This has nothing to, doesn't affect your DNA, doesn't do any of that. Yes. So I was like, okay, what's the best one you recommend? She said Pfizer, because Pfizer has a 95% efficacy. Moderna has 94. I think Johnson & Johnson has about 84 now. But she said get the Pfizer, and I asked their particular reason. She's like, no, I mean they're all mRNA, but it's just higher efficacy. And she got the same. And I was speaking to her after her second dose, so she got all of them. Her parents did too, They all got Pfizer and they are fine. So I'm like, okay, so this doesn't kill black people.
No, it doesn't kill black people. Thank you for
Does not kill
clarifying
black
that.
people.
So what are some of the side effects that you experienced?
Me, when I got the first one, I had none. So
Oh,
like I just had none, and people were a bit surprised that, oh wow, the way it just works for different people. Some
yeah,
people they have like sore arm
yeah.
or they're just weak. One of my really close friends too, who is a nurse in the US, she got hers, and she said the first she got Pfizer, and she said the first one it made her a bit weak, and the second one was perfectly fine. But the second one is usually what makes people feel like fatigue, a muscle pain, weakness, redness, and some people just feel like sharp pains too. People have different side effects. But her second dose was fine. Instead, she experienced some of that in her first dose. So my first dose for me personally, nothing. My second dose, I'm getting that in 2 weeks. I'm hoping I won't feel anything either. I hope so.
But I
Oh,
wanna point to our listeners that I think it's okay if you feel some of those side effects, because if you
yes.
think about the influenza vaccine that we get every year, or a lot of us get every year, myself included, I do get some of that you just mentioned, the sore arm. We all do. Like my kids can't lift up your arm, right?
Mhm.
It's red. I might sometimes feel a little weak for a day or two, but then it just goes away. And I think that's
Wait.
what we should remind ourselves when we keep getting worried about side effects and whatnot, right?
Yes. And another thing that helps, so when you get the vaccine, whatever arm you get it, make sure to use that hand more, move it around because I
Yeah,
feel it
that's what
helps.
they tell us. Yeah.
Yes. Because when I got my first dose, it was from work, I left and then I came back to work and I made sure to use that arm. Like I moved it around a lot and it helped. So moving it around truly helps because if you leave it still because it hurts, it's gonna remain like that. They will keep hurting. But
Yeah.
moving it a lot will help. And another thing I would like to add is that there's this it's not really a rumor, but some people feel that if you take like what you call ibuprofen or Tylenol before the vaccine, it will help minimize some of the side effects. But don't do that. Because taking it can affect the efficacy of the vaccine.
Oh, that is good to
So,
know.
yeah, because I was talking to one of my aunties and she mentioned that, and I had to do my research because I'm like, yes, it makes sense. Like even before a surgery, the doctor will tell you to take pain medication a day before so that it will build your pain resistance. But this vaccine is different. Taking it might affect it. Like I said, with this vaccine, there's so many research, different
But
things
it's
coming out.
and it's also, the virus is also changing, like, so I think if people are unsure, just go talk to your family doctor.
And
Go
yeah,
visit your physician and have them address some of your concerns and all that. But because
exactly.
as we know, this virus changes all the
It's
time.
all the time. Yes.
So now that you've taken, I know you haven't taken the second shot yet for Pfizer, and I'm hearing now that there may be a third shot. Do you know how long immunity may last with one, two, or three of the shots?
So from the data and from what I read, it says the Pfizer, the second dose, right? So it's highly protective 6 months after your second dose, from
Okay,
what I've
6 months
read.
after your
Yes, six
second
months
dose.
after.
Okay.
But now the CEO is saying you need a booster annually, so every year. So from what he's saying, it's not like, oh, you won't have protections. You will, but you need some vaccines, you need boosters. Like you need something that will boost it, so that it will be as pretty much give you more protection as the 95, what is it, 95%? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because the longer you stay without it, it starts dropping to like 80, 70, 60. But now he's like, you need an annual one, just like your flu
But
shot.
just, yeah, I was just going to say that. Just like your flu shot, every year you get a flu shot. So
Yes,
let's try to keep that in mind.
pretty much something like that. And also, like you mentioned, the COVID vaccine and the COVID virus, it keeps changing. Today you wake up, there's a new variant, and
Let's talk about the variants. Yes.
so
Yes.
in order for you to get protection, they will probably be making more vaccines that will be able to fight that new variant.
Okay.
So that's why I believe they're trying to make it annual now. So when they figure out, oh, there's a new variant, they're like, okay, we're going to tailor a vaccine that will be able to give you protection from that.
Yeah.
Just like your flu vaccine also. The flu shot, every year they have a new, it's not your regular flu.
Yeah, it's a new strain or something.
Yeah, it's what you call the quad. So
the quad, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty much like 4 different protection it gives, like in quadrants, 4.
Okay, quadrants. Okay, that's where
Yes,
the quad is from. Okay.
yes. So, and then they also have the trivalent too. That there's only 3 protection. So they have different ones. So why they make the different vaccine and why the flu vaccine is annual now is because each year they never know. You just don't know what kind of flu you're gonna have that year. So that's why they make it annual. So with this COVID, they just don't know the new variant that will come up. So that's why they're trying to make it annual too.
Okay.
That's my understanding.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing
and
that.
I don't think it's bad per se. Like it's okay to have to get the vaccine every year. Me personally, like apart from just being a pharmacist, I believe in vaccine.
Okay.
Most Africans do not have that mentality that I do, but
Yeah.
I do believe
Yeah.
that it works. It works. Every year I get my flu vaccine. And I will tell you right now, I do not get the flu. Some people feel getting it gives you the flu. That personally I think is a myth, but some people think it's true. But I have
Yeah,
not.
I don't, I think when you talk to people about that, you get different things. I personally don't really like vaccine, and just because I don't like needles, period. But I do get my vaccine, and the reason I started getting my flu vaccine was when I had the flu for the first time, and it knocked me out pretty good for 3 weeks. Like, I have never been sicker in my entire life until I encountered the flu. And after then, I just swore that I would never miss it, and I will always get it. And I've never had, like, I've always had the flu shot, and I've never been sick since. Right. So I guess knock on wood, but I knock on wood wherever the wood is.
I just knock for you.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, so like I think people just need to educate themselves. One thing I've noticed in our conversations, you talk about research a lot, verifying information, reading, and I think that's what we all need to do for ourselves. There's a lot of information coming out of the woodworks, from social media to mainstream media to people sending you messages. Like, it's a lot of stuff about COVID-19 and the COVID-19 vaccine. So I just encourage us to go do our own research, go read, study stuff, keep an open mind, ask questions. Like, even you said you were a little bit nervous, and one of your friends who's a pharmacist gave you the opportunity to be part of a presentation so you could learn more. So maybe that's what some of us need to do to kind of get over this skepticism and fear of it.
Especially Africans, please.
Yeah, let our African people, my people,
knowledge,
please.
And information is power.
Yeah.
Educate yourself. Like, don't just believe the rumor. Like, this has nothing to do with the mark of the beast. I had that one, and I was like,
or going to hell. Yeah.
Mark of the beast. That's a bit of research. This has nothing.
They said you're going to implant a chip through the shot. I don't know how people come up with this stuff.
It's not going to eliminate Black people. Trust me. Like, this is not. They're not going to look and say, "Oh, that person pulling up is Black. All right, let's get the different." No. I literally
people were worried for good reasons. If we look back at history, there is some history where Black people were used as experiments, right?
Yes.
And so they were told they were being given a vaccine or a vitamin or a medicine or whatever, but in fact they were being given the disease. And I think, without saying too much, I'm sure people know the precise one that I'm talking about that happened in history in the United States. So I think, for good reasons, I totally entertain when people talk about their fears and their concerns, but I want us to try to always do our due diligence by reading, right? So African people, for us who are Africans who don't want to get the vaccine, again, for good reasons, but I think some of the reasons, or some of the stories that you're hearing out there,
Mm.
it's just mind-boggling. So let's just stop, pump the brakes, and think a little
Yeah,
bit before
me,
we
I got
think we're getting the mark of the
exactly.
beast.
Well, no, trust me, I'm
If
not.
you read
I'm
the Bible well, we're
open
Christians.
scared.
If you read the Bible
Yes,
well, you will know how the mark of the beast is supposed to come. And I believe that's after rapture has happened. So me and you are still here. We
I'm
think the
here.
whole world is still here. So rapture hasn't happened. So we're not getting the mark of the beast. Let's just
But
go study the
no,
Bible a bit more before we run to these kinds of theories and
I
rumors
totally
that are
agree.
going out there.
I
Okay.
agree. Yeah.
So anything else you would want to say about the vaccine, specifically to our African people, maybe, or just in general?
Just go out, do research,
Okay.
get more knowledge about, like I said, knowledge and information is power. Don't just believe the rumors only. Or I was talking to a friend, and I'm pretty sure he mentioned, he's like, I was like, did you get the vaccine? And he's like, "Ah, no, I didn't get it." I'm like, what's the reason? It's like,
Hmm.
apparently there have been videos or something. Like, some people just edit some of these videos and make
Yeah.
it seem like, oh, if as soon as you get it, you drop down. I think that's what the video was about.
Oh my
Person got
goodness.
the vaccine and dropped down and died.
How can we be sure that's what they got?
Thank
You know,
you.
there's people also saying that how can you be sure that the vaccine, like what
Vaccine?
they're showing people on TV, is what we're going to get? So I had somebody talk about that. It's like, okay, they showed Joe Biden getting the vaccine. They show all these important people, Barack Obama, whoever else, getting the vaccine on live TV. How can we be sure that what they are being injected with is what
Mm-hmm.
we, the lay people, are going to get?
Good question. So, as a pharmacist who has been giving vaccines for years now, if you're not comfortable or if you feel we're lying or we're giving you something else, it's okay to ask the pharmacist, can I see the vaccine? So we can
God
really
bless
give
you. Hands up
you.
for you. I was hoping you would
Tell
say that.
them, tell them, can I see the vaccine? And also in the, oh, I don't have my card here, but they give you like a COVID vaccine, like card. It gives you, so they take out from the vaccine itself and tape out the lot number and the expiration date. So in case like you feel, oh, that's not what they give you, you can be able to call the company and say, this lot number, what does it
Hmm.
belong to? So yes, you can always call. Those people are always ready
Ask
to answer.
questions. I
Ask
think our
questions. It really
people, we
takes it
get
away from
timid
you.
sometimes. We're afraid of
Yes.
authority. We don't
Ask
challenge
questions.
things. I say this over and over in my podcast because this is what the podcast is about. Is about
Mhm.
challenging norms. So if you feel like you go to the doctor's office or the pharmacist desk and you're not sure, just ask to see it.
Be like, oh, can I see it? Because
Hmm. It's
if
your
they,
right. It's your
it's
body.
your right. It's going into your body. So ask them, be like, oh, and also ask questions. So what do you know about? Every time I give patients vaccine, before I give it to them, they always ask side effects. I mean, as a
Okay.
pharmacist, you're supposed to mention it,
You're supposed,
but
yeah, of
yeah,
course.
you're supposed to always mention it. Ask them, let them know what to expect. Sometimes you have to watch them like after for 15 minutes after giving it. Like when I got mine, they had me pack in an open space where they watched me for 15 minutes before I left. Because some people, like you said, you're afraid of needles. Just the idea of something going to your body, you can make you faint.
Absolutely.
Doesn't
Yes.
mean it was the vaccine that
It
make you
wasn't, it
faint.
could just
It's
be
just
my anxiety, right?
anxiety,
Hmm.
anxious. So they watch you. I remember there was one time I was giving a patient, she told me that she might faint. So when she said that, and I'm like, wait, what do you mean? She's like, oh,
Hmm.
she has a fear of needles. So I should just let her. So I told her I'm gonna watch her for like 15 minutes, just in case, because you don't want them leaving and then they're driving and they fall asleep or they faint while driving. So
Yeah, no,
educate them. Always ask questions.
absolutely.
Ask to see the vaccine. You know what? Yes, let's do that. When you go get the vaccine, share black people if you're scared. Tell them, can I see it?
Okay.
They will show you the name, the lot number. They should be able to show you. I watched them give it to me. I looked at the vaccine. Like it wasn't just any random thing. It had the label and everything. So no, they're not going to label a random thing and give it to you.
Well,
Trust
that's
me.
what
If
some
it
people
has
are thinking
anything,
is like, are you sure the
please
thing
no.
inside? You know?
It is
So thank
working.
you so much, Dr. Onyinye. Very much appreciate that explanation. So we're coming to the end of our conversation today. I want to quickly ask you where you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years.
Mhm.
And something, and you've said this over and over already, but I want to just quickly ask you to also give one advice to our listeners today. Just one takeaway from our advice for today, and where you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years.
Okay, so I'll answer the first one, the where I see myself in 5 to 10 years.
Yeah,
So I want to be in a position to lead and own my own
nice.
pharmacy and impact more lives.
Wow.
So I believe owning my own pharmacy will give me the ability to have an outreach program where I can be able to encourage people and help them understand the importance of this career path. Being able to provide people with the best care, I feel is one of the best things. People go through a lot. Trust me, I've had patients
Yes.
come in and they're just talking. One, most of those people don't even just come in to get their medication. Sometimes they just don't have anyone to talk to.
Talk to.
Yes, having a pharmacist talk. I'm always so nice to my patients. Oh my gosh, when they come, they tell me their life
You're
stories.
such a warm person. You're
I think
like,
something about my face or
uh,
something on my forehead. Just tell me
everything.
about
I
their
don't
life
know. You're
story.
just a very warm person, and honestly, a blessing to anyone who comes paths
Thank
crosses paths with you
you.
is going to have huge blessings just connecting with you. So you chose the right profession, and I'm pretty sure every single one of your patients who crosses path with you, who you touch, will be truly blessed. So thank you for sharing that. I'm sure you're
Amen.
well. I believe you're already well on your way to achieving that. So one
Thank
advice for our
you.
listeners, especially young Black girls, young Black women, one advice, one takeaway for them for today.
I would say go do it. Do
Go
not
do
let
it.
go do it. Yes. Don't let your age or location or any circumstances stop you. Put whatever you want to do, take it to God, and once He guides you, don't let things get in your way. Like, oh, I'm the only female in my class. Oh, I'm the only Black person. Oh, I'm
Mm,
too young. Oh, this place is so far. I hope my life story has been able to, convince you that no
yes.
matter how young you are. I mean, I started this program at 21. I came to the country by myself, did not know anybody. I was far from my family. Um, Being one of the very few Black people in my class did not stop me. Even being young did not stop me. So just take it to God and put in that effort. Just do it. If you believe you can do it, do it. And don't
Thank
let
you.
even if the going gets tough, don't stop. Keep going. Put in that hard work. You're going to be able to accomplish it, trust me. And it will be worth it. Hey, you
Absolutely.
think I look at my degree and I'm
Anytime you'll be
yes,
shiny, see the dollars, you want to
it
go,
will be
you'll be
worth
looking like
it.
Dr. Onye right now. It will be worth it, as in
Uh-huh,
what
my dear.
capital it. Ah,
It will
yeah,
be. So please, you can do it. My
yeah,
ladies, my Black women, you can do it.
yeah. We're
Definitely.
queens. Let's just go out there and live our life as queens. And
As
queens
queen.
conquer, queens overcome, and queens are successful. So, are you
Exactly.
going to come back to Canada? I have to
Oh,
ask this question. I know we're done, but are you
are
coming
we?
back?
You mean
Is
like coming to visit or stay?
uh-uh, no visit, girl. Bye. I mean, coming back to home. Isn't Canada home?
Oh, Canada is always home to me.
There you go.
Listen, I
Uh-oh.
think I'm better off like here in the
Yeah.
US.
Yeah, they pay more money. I know.
Yeah, that part. I'm trying not to save money because I just
Hmm.
don't let money be.
Good girl. Let's leave that thing.
But yes, when you look at the money, it's just much better here. Like even when I was working in a Canadian pharmacy, my boss, like
Mm.
literally when I was about to leave, she came to talk to me. She said, "I'm not talking to you as your manager, and I'm talking to you as my daughter." And she told me, I was shocked when she told me this. She's like, "I don't want you to, when you finish pharmacy school, I don't want you to come back to Canada. Stay in the US. It's just much better there, better opportunities and better pay." When she told me that, I didn't know.
Wow.
I did my research and I'm like, wow, that was really
sometimes your dreams may take you elsewhere, and just be willing to let it take you to wherever, to let you fly. Well, it's been an absolute honor and pleasure talking to you, Dr. Onyinye. It's just been fabulous, amazing, refreshing, heartwarming, and I would love to keep you longer, but I know you have to go. So I just want to say another huge thank you for giving me your time and to come and share your experience and inspire young people and anyone else who's going to be listening today. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. This was great. I love talking about everything, my life journey, and just the challenges I was able to overcome. It was really fun. Thank you.
I hope you had fun.
I did.
Awesome.